Hello and welcome to the Rested podcast. My name's Mark Selby. I love the theatre of travel, discovering the stories of journeys and learning how people use their travel time. In A Hatful of Sky, Terry Pratchett wrote, "Why do you go away? So that you can come back. So that you can see the place you came from with new eyes and extra colours, and the people there see you differently too. Coming back to where you started is not the same as never leaving." It applies to long journeys and our daily commutes. Each trip offers discoveries and new perspectives, but often the new remains hidden by the familiar. New perspectives are missed, new ideas unexplored. Just as the oyster needs to ingest a piece of grit to agitate and form a pearl, so we often need that external stimulation to trigger ideas, create new bonds, and inspire us. Constantly repeating those same familiar routes risks numbing us to our surroundings and what's happening around us, missing those pieces of grit that could nurture our own pearls. Have you noticed how the return journey from a new destination seems much shorter than the outward journey? There's a reason for this. When we head off to a new place, our brains are far more active, processing the new, looking for familiar patterns along the route, in the landscape, buildings, turnings, smells and sounds. When we return, our brain is familiar with these features, having already expanded its memory on the outward journey, resulting in less stimulation and brain processing energy. Though the outward and return journeys are the same distance and require generally the same time to travel, the return feels easier and shorter because the brain doesn't have to work so hard. Rather than risking sensory overload on every trip we take, far better to determine what we want to get out of a journey. The pursuit of efficiency can cause us to keep taking the same paths to complete known journeys quickly. But if our motivation is solely speed, we're likely missing so much. Familiar routes, such as commutes, can be perfect for relaxation and reflection. But it's easy to fall into a numbing routine over time. I often walk my dog on specific paths in the woods. They provide her with sensory stimulation, new smells, squirrels to chase and puddles to jump into. For myself, the walks give me time for thought and occasional chats with fellow dog walkers, hearing their stories and news. Balance is the answer between stimulation and relaxation, which I, for one, constantly struggle to master. Our motivation to travel may be strong, but what if it's unaffordable or unachievable? Well, it's possible to travel great distances without leaving our garden or neighbourhood block. Albert Speer was imprisoned for his war crimes at the Nuremberg trials in 1946. Over the next 2 years, he focused on gardening when he wasn't locked in his cell. Over time, he transformed the prison yard into a garden with flower beds, trees and a vegetable plot, though neither he nor the other prisoners were allowed to consume the produce. He calculated that walking 30 circuits of the garden was 7 kilometres in distance. To stay fit, he decided to walk the distance from the prison to his home in Heidelberg. Over the following weeks, he completed the necessary circuits. To keep count of them, he carried 30 dried peas, transferring them from one pocket to another as he completed each circuit. Whilst providing good exercise, he decided that merely counting the kilometres was too abstract. He wanted to visualize the places he could walk to and learn about them. A sympathetic guard borrowed maps, history books, and travel guides for him from a library to plot longer routes. He researched cities, cultures, the climate and landscapes, and planned a route he could take. He eventually set off on the journey, walking his circuits of the garden, recording what he would be seeing if his imaginary journey was real. His route went from the prison in Berlin to Vienna, then Istanbul, through Iran, India, and China to Beijing. He calculated when there'd be sufficient ice for him to walk across the Bering Strait, and duly crossed from Russia into Alaska. He walked south, down the west coast of North America to Mexico, ending in Guadalajara. He walked over 134,000 circuits of the garden and recorded everything he thought he'd see on his journey, smuggling his notes and memoirs out via a prison orderly. His longest walk in one day was over 24 kilometers. He was released 12 years after his imaginary walk started. Others have used their gardens to walk and raise funds for charity. During the pandemic lockdowns, Captain Tom Moore, aged 99, decided to walk 100 lengths of his garden, with the help of his walking frame, by his 100th birthday for charity. His goal was to raise £1,000 for a charity supporting National Health Service staff, patients and communities. The national media became aware of his efforts, and the public followed his progress. On the morning of his 100th birthday, Tom had raised £30 million. The final amount raised was almost £39 million. Remarkable journeys of perseverance and impact. When we do go away, are we tourists or travellers? It's been argued that they're different. Paul Theroux, in his inimitable style, wrote, "Tourists don't know where they've been. Travellers don't know where they're going." Certainly those safe group trips organised for tourists, complete with staged cultural experiences, performed by bored locals for wealthier foreigners, rarely give any insight into contemporary local culture. The tourists are herded back to hermetically sealed hotels or cruise ships, insulated from daily life outside. No wonder they might forget where they've been. Thank goodness for informative guides who can provide memorable insights. By contrast, there are many keen backpacking travellers who seem bizarrely worried they need to distinguish themselves from tourists. I'm not convinced this snobbish attitude helps these travellers see foreign lands with more sensitive or perceptive eyes, but each to their own. The irony is that many such travellers join informal groups of other such travellers, thereby resembling groups of tourists. Writing in the Sun magazine, the American traveller Andrew Boyd writes, "But we all have the same damn packs on, and we all walk around with the same damn book, the Lonely Planet Guide to whatever the hell country you happen to be in. And for the most part, we're all going to the same real places to have the same real experiences. And by the time we arrive, all the other people trying to get to the places that nobody else goes to are already there, and it isn't so real anymore." This week, I spoke to a very keen traveller, Melissa Rodway in Montreal. Melissa was the host of Fly Travel Radio and has written an entertaining book called The People You Meet, about some of her travel adventures in Southeast Asia. Melissa enjoys active and adventure travel. Originally travelling alone or with a friend, she now enjoys travelling in small groups of 10 to 15 like-minded people, but is aware of the negative perceptions of group travel. She notes that travelling with like-minded people can create lifelong friendships, and the camaraderie when faced with problems or scary situations is invaluable. Travelling alone provides an opportunity to see the people and some routines of local life. It increases the likelihood of meeting locals. Reading the memoirs of adventurous travellers, I'm struck by how many insist on using local public transport when they can. Quite apart from the cost advantages, it's an opportunity for the author to immerse her or himself into local life, if only for a short time. The daily commutes witnessed provide some of the most valuable insights. To see the famous buildings and other attractions is one thing, but it's akin to seeing a place's skeleton. The lives of the people are the soul of the place. Gathering insights and armed with new colours, we hopefully return home with new perspectives and the sensitivity to better appreciate what's happening on our regular journeys. I'm grateful for the feedback on recent episodes. Emma from Borden noted the secret thumbnail efficiency of train wheels on rails and made me aware of a Russian legend regarding the finger of Tsar Nicholas. The story involves the planned route of the Trans-Siberian Railway. The Tsar was frustrated by the delays to the railway's construction and used a ruler to draw a straight line from St. Petersburg to Moscow, with the instruction to build like this. Legend has it that as the line was drawn, the emperor's finger was over the edge of the ruler, resulting in a small arc being drawn on the map. As no one dared to go against his will, they built a railroad with a bizarre bend in the middle. The truth of the story is that the curve on the line was built to circumvent a steep gradient that early trains had difficulty climbing. Nowadays, trains can handle that gradient, and the upgraded high-speed route now follows the straight line originally proposed. A similar legend is told about the Friedrichshafen Railway in Germany, a ruler, and the finger of the King of Württemberg. The stories of journeys and tracks, imaginary or real, local or distant, are out there waiting to be discovered. I hope you find some that amuse you. Enjoy your travels. Thanks for listening to the Rested Podcast. Please subscribe for details of new episodes and tell your friends. I look forward to reading and sharing your travel stories. Please email restedpodcast@gmail.com. And my thanks to everyone that has contributed to Rested so far. Enjoy your travel time.